just go right back to the beginning of the movie and the first day of shooting and really trying to find the essence of who she was. She was an artist and she was singing from the time she was 9 years old, maybe younger. Learning how she sang, all her mannerisms and how she danced. Studying the tape of her became really important.
She was such an inspiration to me. I was so lucky to be chosen to do that. And as an artist, this movie was such an incredible experience for me. I'm gonna remember it for the rest of my life.
God sent me that role for a reason, so I could learn from her, so I could always have her as an inspiration.
I guess Hollywood must be a small community because the word spread around that Selena's father was there trying to find somebody to do the movie.
We knew that the fans were going to examine everything we did very closely from the very beginning. So during pre-production and production, the casting, all of that. We couldn't keep the press away.
From day one, I wanted to give somebody a chance to be part of the movie.
And so we decided to make a search of 5 cities. We went to Los Angeles and Chicago, San Antonio, Miami, and I just covered New York quickly to see if there was anybody there. And the turnouts were quite amazing.
We were expecting a few hundred people to show up. I think we had 10,000 people in just Los Angeles.
What we're gonna do is
We ended up screen testing, one from Chicago, one from Miami. I found baby Selena in San Antonio, and there were 3 girls here.
So then Jennifer Lopez's turn came up.
It was quite an elaborate screen test. We had to dance and sing to one of her songs, and then we had to do a few scenes, and it was intense.
Action.
I am so sick of this. I've had enough of this junk. I cannot take it anymore. I'm sick and tired of it. I've made up my mind.
You gotta be in El Paso in 12 hours. You should be in a bus by
I
now.
don't care about El Paso, okay? You mean more to me than any gig in El Paso, okay?
If you don't...
And in 3 takes, she had it.
So we looked at the tapes, and Jennifer's was the strongest without any doubt.
After we announced that Jennifer Lopez had been selected to portray Selena, boy, I started getting calls.
The minute I got the part, I had to do this big press conference, which I had never had to do for any part I had ever gotten.
The Mexican press was going to be difficult. We knew this.
How dare you pick a Puerto Rican to play our beloved Selena? And it kind of freaked me out.
There was tons of controversy of the fact that I wasn't Mexican. I just knew it was going to be about proving that I was the right person to do it.
When Jennifer went to the press conference in Mexico and the one up here, she won them over exactly like Selena did.
After she got the part and all that, she came down and spent a couple of days with me.
The dynamic of who she was so shaped by her family and the fact that they were very close. They shared so many intimate things with me, albums and videotapes that they hadn't given to anybody, and her makeup box and how she smelled, everything.
I felt like she was a lot like my sister.
There was something about my spirit and her spirit that were similar.
I had a sectional, and Selena would always come in and prop her feet up a certain way, and I had to throw a little blanket and she would cover herself. I freaked out because Jennifer did the same thing.
There's some similarities that are just really incredible. The way they laugh.
The talk, her body language.
Not only did Jennifer get an opportunity to play her role in the movie, but she also played her role in life. She became a superstar, a super artist, and that's where Selena was going.
I spent a lot of time with her because we did a lot of the dancing together. She would ask me, well, what'd y'all do this? How'd y'all do that? Or whatever. You know, she would ask me a lot. And we spent a lot of time in the studio.
I was working on another movie at the time, so I would come and rehearse at night from like 7 to midnight.
I don't think I've ever seen an actor work so hard on achieving a part as Jennifer did doing that part.
I knew that a very big part of who Selena was and what the fans wanted to see and what they were expecting was who she was as a performer, a singer, a dancer. And we had all these things all mapped out.
How does that person move their hands? How does that person sit? How do they blink? How do they mouth words? How do they lip sync? What kind of choreography is it?
We broke everything down step, by hand gesture, by movement. If you match us together, in certain tapes, we're doing the exact same thing.
I tried to make Jennifer improvise a little bit within a loose structure, so it looked first time feel. If accidents happened, so much the better. It looks like live concert work. The only real number I think that we did in the purple outfit that we choreographed off the videotape almost step by step to really give her a safety valve, because that was shot in front of 37,000 people.
I started with watching and familiarizing myself, learning as much as I could about her. Every magazine, every videotape, every behind the scene we can get from her family, any home videos. There was a lot of tears on the set too, you know, you have to realize there was a lot of emotions. You know, Selena had just passed away. It's only 2 years now. In a situation like that, you can't help but bond with all the people that are around you. And we were close to begin with, and then getting to know her family, Selena's family, and what they were all about, and learning about their loss and feeling that it was all very intense. Just all the performance stuff that we did, the lip syncing and all of that. I approached it from the point of actually learning to sing like her in the style she did, what she actually really liked to sing and what she really got off on. You throw all those ingredients in the pot and boom, you know, then you have people saying, wow, this is so much like her. They say you look like her, when in reality I'm sitting right here in front of you and you know I don't look anything like her. It wasn't about that. It was about being like her and being her. Look-wise, you know, I had to dye my hair. She had black hair and she wore bangs and she wore her hair straight a lot. She was a very specific style, showed what she had. She was sexy, but she was never vulgar. And I think that's what I loved about her. I had a great time wearing all those costumes. One of the huge appeals of Selena, one of the reasons she was so hugely popular was because she didn't change herself. You know, sometimes when you turn on Spanish television, you'll see a lot of these women with their hair dyed blonde and all this stuff, you know, and Selena wasn't like that. She would stand up there and you would look up at her, and if you were Latin in the audience, she would go, that's me. That's me up there. That's what I look like. She was just herself, and that was enough. And it was enough to get her there. So you look up and you go, I could do that too, you know? And that's what role models and all that whole thing is all about. When I came into the stadium, you know, I didn't know how I was going to be accepted. It was like a week into shooting that we shot that big scene. And when I walked in and they all started screaming, they were screaming Selena, but they were screaming Jennifer too. You know, you feel that love, and there was a huge amount of love in that audience. There's 33,000 people in there, and, you know, my mom is by the monitor with Marcella, Selena's mother, and they're watching it, and she says to my mom, it's like watching my own daughter up there again. It's incredible. And of course, you know, they were hugging and crying, and there was a huge loss. But the movie is not about that. It's about the celebration of what her life was like and what she touched so many people and why she was such an inspiration to so many people. It's a happy movie, but then, you know, it has a sad ending. Are they gonna love me, Mama? In a greater sense, the loss is so tragic and it hits you so hard in this film because you really get a sense of the feeling of this family. And then you see how much she meant to everybody else, all her fans and the millions of people that she touched while she was alive. I didn't even think she realized it. For Selena. Not only were they reliving everything, but they were actually getting to see me dressed up as her, acting like her, saying things, as you would have said, living emotional parts of their life, difficult times in their lives, fights they had, and, you know, overall joys they had too, but those joys make you cry too. Everything was just so heightened on this set because of that, the reason that we were making the film, which is because she wasn't there. It definitely got hard at times. They're wonderful people. They're very loving family, very much what you see on the screen. Every videotape I ever watched of them from their own video cameras, all stuff was stuff that we pulled from them, that we put on the screen. Everything was true.
Because for the first time in my life, I swear, I feel like I'm free. Like I could fly if I wanted to. Like I am flying.
They were very young at that time. You know, they were younger. They got married when she was 20, you know, so that was couple of years before. There was a youthfulness about it that was funny. He fit right in. He's a great actor, and he did a great job as Chris, and we had a good time working together.
What are you doing?
Hot sauce.
That is enough.
Dude, they can't make food hot enough for me.
Oh, you are gonna be sorry.
You know, Selena didn't know she was gonna die. It was all of a sudden, out of the blue. I had to play it that way, alive, because that's the way she lived her life. She lived her life for every moment. She was a very happy person, and she was a jokester. She was enjoying her life. She worked with her family. She had her husband. I think she would have been really happy. I think one of the things about this movie and what it made me realize is that you never know what's gonna happen, and you need to live your life the way you wanna live it. Don't leave things for tomorrow, because you just never know what's gonna happen.
How important was a wardrobe? It was so important that she had 4 big suitcases that she made poor Chris carry on the bus from underneath all the way on top.
When she did the scene of the opening of the Selena store, she had a jacket on, and it's black, and it's got like gold embroidery, and it's got lions on it. And I go, hey, you wear the same size as Selena? Because I thought it was Selena's jacket. And she laughed, and she goes, no, they replicated it. I'm like, no way. I mean, it was down to the T.
One of her brassieres, one of the cups has all the rhinestones, and one doesn't have all of them. It's kind of like broken off. And people think, oh, cool, she made it like that. No, she ran out of rhinestones. She ran out of rhinestones. She was really mad that day. She was like, I ran out of rhinestones. I don't have any more. But she put it on and made it look cool anyway, man.
The nominees for Best Mexican-American Album are...
I'll never forget when she came out of the trailer when she was wearing the Grammy dress. Literally took me back. I wanted to cry. I thought it was Selena.
When we did the Grammy scene, and Jennifer came out, and she was wearing, it was the same dress. We managed to have it remade exactly how it was. I think when they saw her, the same hairstyle, the same dress, it must have been really very hard for them.
There's this one scene that I remember being at the premiere of the movie and seeing it, and it was almost like I got transported back to that day, and I'm watching it like if I'm in the room when it was really happening, and then there's a knock on the door. And I thought, damn it, it's the maids. What are they doing waking me up at this time? I have the do not disturb sign, right? I look through the peephole, and it's her standing there.
What are you doing?
I've had it, Chris. I've had it. I can't take it anymore. That's it. I made up my mind.
It's 12 hours away. You're supposed to be getting on that bus.
She's talking about we have to get married, or she wanted to get married, and I'm saying, but I don't want to do it this way. I don't think we should do it this way. You deserve to be married, in the right way.
What's the right way?
You know, with you wearing a beautiful white dress and your friends in those different colored dresses.
Bridesmaids, Chris.
And I said, that's the way it should be. And she said, it's never going to happen that way. And that was like just a ton of bricks fell on me because I knew she was right.
The only way he will know that I am not gonna give you up is if we go out and get married right now. Then he'll have to accept us.
I thought maybe everything, all the turmoil that was going on with her family and I thought maybe optimistically that it would all blow over, And when she told me that, I knew she was right.
What if he doesn't?
But I'll still have you. And you'll have me. There's no king in the world more important than that.
I love you. Let's get married.
Yeah.
That's about the only part of the movie that I can stand to sit through without it being too painful.
How does it feel to be a married man?
It feels great. I like it.
The scene that you see in the movie is exactly, almost verbatim, what Chris told me in that interview. I just took his dialogue that he said, she said this, then I said this, and she said this, and I said this. And I just, boom, it's in the film.
My first time making her up for the film. She's singing to the music. We had the music in the trailer in the background. We looked at each other and she was turning into Selena. It was so weird. And we both started to cry. And she goes, come on, Mark, we gotta be strong.
Edward James almost coming up to me and saying, you know everything, and you gotta just throw it all away now. Just throw it away and just perform. And I was like, okay.
Every musical number, I wanted to be integrated into the drama and to reflect what the characters were going through emotionally and what Selena was going through emotionally at that particular time. And I decided that the culmination of her journey as a musical artist was this tremendous concert that she did just before she was killed at the Houston Astrodome, in which it was absolutely packed. And she got to sing, disco, Donna Summer, which at the beginning of the movie, she says when she's a little kid, I like Donna Summer, And I thought that this would be the way to open the film so that we can see Selena at her height and then show how she got there. And we put it out in the newspapers that we were going to do this on the Alamo Dome, asking people to come. And we didn't know if anybody was going to show up. I mean, you just don't know. And 35,000 people came.
We'd come to see Selena, and they did.
Well, if I'm not ready now, I'll never be.
It was incredible. The atmosphere, it was just, the emotion was so thick you could cut it.
Action!
I remember it was the first time I was going to perform in front of a group that size.
Truly, one of the most extraordinary emotional moments of my career.
I knew there was a lot of anticipation. I didn't know how they were going to receive me.
Just the feeling, when the music came on and we're all in character. And we forgot that we were actors playing these people.
When she came out in that carriage and she got onto that stage and the music was playing and the lights were moving around the audience and the fans were cheering, it was so incredible.
I was in an archway with Selena's mother and sister as that dome turned around, and from that distance, Jennifer in the purple outfit. It was as though Selena, she was there.
I remember looking over at Abraham and Suzette at the side of the stage and just seeing them crying. And it was just this, you just got this sense that, it was Abraham and Suzette standing there, and there was Marcella in the background, but Selena was everywhere.
And it was just overwhelming. The whole experience was overwhelming. And I was in tears, and the family was in tears, and the audience was in tears.
I remember many people coming up to me that night and just crying and, you look so much like her, oh my God, I get goose pimples, and they'd start sobbing and they want to hug you. And then I'd have to go and do another take, you know what I mean? And so it was a lot.
I thought my job was hard, playing Chris, but I had the luxury of actually being able to sit with Chris and hang out with Chris.
I mean, I was on stage with her. I knew exactly on what part of the song, how she was gonna do her finger, how she was gonna turn, how she was gonna smile, how closed her eyes would get when she would smile. I mean, Jennifer just studied it and nailed it. I mean, she nailed it down to the T.
She has that same drive that Selena had, and in a way, it's like they came together.
I started believing that Jennifer was Selena. I was like, until the end of the movie, then Selena comes out, and then you realize, okay, that's your sister, Because it kind of plays tricks on your mind.
I think it's Jennifer Lopez's finest moment in film ever.
This one moment in the Alamo Dome was the moment in which the magic and the reality merged together for everybody.
After I saw the movie, it was a strange feeling. It was emotional, and it's just hard to describe in words.
It's hard for me to watch the movie as it is, but to watch the ending, it just kind of ruins it for me.
My main thing was the fact that I would look at it and I'd want to cry because I knew that she wasn't here.
Just talking about it, I mean, it kind of gives you a knot in your throat, you know what I'm saying? And
everybody felt a real need to do it right, you know, and I think that's why the movie is a special movie.
There was a lot of things that Jennifer would say she would do that really would freak us out. My wife said, wow, I mean, she looks so much like Selena.
We'd be doing an emotional scene and Selena's mother, she just break down in tears.
Jennifer approached this role with incredible humility, and she understood that she was playing a woman who would otherwise be here were it not for this unbelievably tragic circumstance, and that yet this was giving her the opportunity of her career.
It was an experience where I learned that, you know, you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. And you have to live for today. You have to tell people you love them today. You have to live in the moment.
I'm proud of the whole project in general. I'm proud that it came out to be such a loving tribute to her.
She was the most beautiful, sweet, wonderful person, and that's what I think is really important to capture.
Mi corazón quiere cantar así.